Hey there, today, we're diving into the Canada Temporary Visa because they can no longer apply for a work permit supported by a job offer from within the country. This temporary policy, which allowed visitors to apply for these work permits, was introduced in August 2020. The policy was put in place to help visitors in Canada who couldn't return home due to COVID-19 related border closures. It also aimed to help employers fill critical labor shortages by allowing some visitors who met specific conditions to apply for a job-supported work permit from within Canada. Note, some visitors in Canada can still apply for other types of work permits from within the country. Additionally, certain applications, like those for a Bridging Open Work Permit (BOWP), must be submitted from inside Canada and cannot be filed from outside the country. Schedule a free work permit consultation with the Cohen Immigration Law Firm. The policy was initially scheduled to end on February 28, 2025. However, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada (IRCC) decided to end it early, stating that this is part of our overall efforts to recalibrate the number of temporary residents in Canada and preserve the integrity of the immigration system. Applications submitted under this policy before August 28 will still be processed. Crackdown on misuse. IRCC mentioned that one reason for ending the policy early is the discovery that some individuals were using it to mislead foreign nationals into working in Canada without proper authorization. This action is part of the department's broader efforts to combat immigration fraud and manage the number of temporary residents. For instance, last year, 700 Indian international students were found to be in Canada with fake letters of acceptance from designated learning institutions, DLIs. Many of these students were unaware that their letters were fraudulent. In response, IRCC now requires DLIs to verify all acceptance letters within 10 days of receiving an international student application. Additionally, Canada has set a cap on the number of international students it will accept over the next 2 years. Significant changes to temporary foreign worker levels in Canada. The end of the policy allowing some visitors to apply for work permits comes at a time of significant changes aimed at reducing the number of temporary foreign workers in Canada. On August 26, the department announced it would pause the processing of certain Labor Market Impact Assessment (LMIA) applications under the low-wage stream of the Temporary Foreign Worker Program (TFWP) by September 26, 2024. This change will affect applicants in areas where the unemployment rate is 6% or higher. IRCC also introduced new restrictions limiting the number of foreign workers that Canadian employers can hire under the TFWP to 10% of their total workforce. Additionally, the maximum employment term for workers in the low-wage stream has been reduced from 2 years to 1 year. These changes are part of a broader rollback of pandemic-era immigration policies that were put in place to address labor shortages at the time. For example, during the pandemic, IRCC, in collaboration with Employment and Social Development Canada (ESDC), introduced temporary measures allowing Canadian employers to hire up to 30% of their workforce through the low-wage stream of the TFWP and extended the validity of an LMIA to 12 months. IRCC and ESDC began to phase out these pandemic-era policies last May, following a joint press conference held by Employment Minister Randy Boissonnault and Immigration Minister Mark Miller. At the same press conference, Minister Miller announced the historic inclusion of temporary resident levels in the annual Immigration Levels Plan, marking a first in Canadian immigration history. Immigration has become a key issue in Canada, with many announcements this year focusing on managing and reducing the number of temporary residents in the country. This week, Minister Miller also announced plans to review permanent residence levels in Canada in the coming years. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips.